It's my great pleasure to welcome everybody here to Acres Lake, or what is affectionately known out there, the blue way, the snake in the lake. You know, we're here this morning because we are all Leitrim people, and it gives me huge pride to welcome you all here. And I'm particularly delighted that I'm here as chairperson of the county board, and I'm also an elected member of Leitrim County Council, and I think it's one of the first coming together of two of the great organisations in Leitrim, the council and the GAA. And for that I want to thank the organisers of this, that came together both from the council and the GAA to make this happen and to sponsor our January challenge for 2022. Last year this was started off, and I just want to pay a huge compliment, and everybody knows this, to Adrian Flynn, whose brainchild that this was. And we did not know how it was going to work last year. And because it worked so well, and it worked so well because of the people who took part. And I just want to mention one person. I know his family is here today, and I'm delighted that members of the Heart family are here. Anne Hart is here, Christina's here, there's two other ladies there, I don't know their names, and there's an accomplice there behind as well. He told me he was just a hanger-on. But anyway, to the Hart family, I am delighted that you are here this morning, and thank you so much for making the effort, because it was Francis Hart who lifted the January challenge last year, and his post into Facebook that got everybody and gave everybody the start of and the kick. So I'm delighted, and please accept our appreciation of what Francis did for us. Everybody else, I just want to welcome them. I want to welcome our Master of Ceremonies, John Lynch, and thank you, John, for coming here today. I want to welcome the members of the County Board who are here, Barbara and Declan. I know Martin couldn't be here. I want to welcome our Senior Manager, his wife Jennifer, and Ollie and Sharon, is it? Charlotte, right. Here today, delighted to have them. I'm also delighted to have Brendan Guckin here, manager of the under 20 team. Those people are very important to us. Everything depends. We have targets set out for you, and we expect you to meet those targets. Anybody, I want to welcome Declan Boyle here from Leitrim Sports Partnership. Thanks, Declan, for coming. Everybody knows that Declan played for Donegal. He also played for Glasgow Celtic. He also played for Finn Harps, and he also played for Sligo Rovers. So now that's a pretty accomplished thing for somebody to have done. I want to welcome the media from Shannon's side, from Ocean FM, and John Connolly, sports editor of the Leitrim Observer, and Willie Donlan, forever taking our pictures, and James Malloy. Thank you so much. And our full-time administrator, Brian Blake, full-time cameraman. Brian, thanks for coming. I will not say any more. I see Joseph Yaluli there at the back, who spearheaded the whole thing from the council, and Joseph and Jolo. O'Brien Tracy, I see him there too. I want to welcome you because we're using your facility, and thank you so much for the use of this. And thank you so much for what Waterways Ireland does for Leitrim. I know that you've only started the whole project within Leitrim, but look it, thanks a million. What has happened out here is phenomenal, and the amount of tourists that it brings. So Brian, thank you for that. Is there somebody else that I have missed here? Darren Mulvey. Did I mention Darren Mulvey? Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, everybody, I will now going to hand over to the Master of Ceremonies, John Lynch. Okay. I don't know if I mentioned Adrian Flynn, but I also want to mention Eamon Degnan. I want to mention Pádraig White, and I want to mention Mike Feeney, who he couldn't be here, he'd love to be here, but I just want to say to you, thanks so much, you know, what you do for us. Thanks a million, and long may that continue. John Lynch, please come up here and take over from me.
Lovely stuff. Well done, Ed. Thank you.
And fantastic to see
the representation is in the mention there with the local authority here and with Leitrim GA. And maybe when Paddy is here beside us as well, Paddy O'Rourke, just to have a quick word at you from the perspective of Leitrim County Council. One thing about it, Paddy, we spoke about tourism. It was a great way of showcasing Leitrim last year as well. All the various walks, beautiful scenery. It was a fantastic way, in many ways, to put the front foot of the county out there.
Absolutely, and in particular in the very difficult circumstances that we found ourselves in. And might I just say, I'm here this morning, and I was fortunate enough during the last period that I was chairperson to have accompanied the then Minister Heather Humphreys when this initiative here on the lake was opened. That was the first section of it on very frosty morning on October 2014. On that occasion I had to issue an apology on behalf of Enda Stenson, who was indisposed, having fallen from a ladder, and the news of his demise was greatly exaggerated at the time, and thankfully he's still here with us, as large as life.
Could have died.
Absolutely, but you didn't, and that's the important thing. And as you know, and as everybody in the audience knows, he has 9 lives, and he has only a couple of them used. So anyway, no, but on a more serious note, what this has done for local communities, and to give each and every part of County Leitrim their chance to show what they had. And I suppose if the recession or the pandemic we got so used to using the word recession for a number of years, we have to move on. We have another plague on our landscape. The pandemic has taught us anything, it is to look around home and see what we have and try and sell that. And I think, in fairness, Leitrim County Council has been to the fore in terms of marketing what we have here in the county. The GAA were very willing and capable partners in assisting in the doing of that.
Leisure tourism, as you mentioned, there are so many parts of Leitrim now buying into it, and in many ways it's got that potential to bring so many visitors to the county.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it can only get better from here.
Finally, Paddy, this particular project last year, in many ways, it's give us a snapshot of what community spirit is like in Leitrim. So many people from sporting backgrounds and other backgrounds got involved. We're all going to be looking for that to happen again this time round, but there was something unique last year in the middle of the whole pandemic. It really showed, I suppose, that community spirit in Leitrim, and it showed how everybody can get behind organisations like the GAA.
Absolutely, everybody, and as you can see yourself here this morning, it's not exactly confined to the human beings. The wildlife has even got in on the act here, and they have joined, and they too are a part in selling the area, because they add to the charm that we have here in many parts of County Leitrim.
All right, Paddy, we look forward to seeing you on the highways and byways a little bit later on. Ladies and gentlemen, Paddy O'Rourke, coherence of the local authority. We're right now first. It's in many ways time for us to get our story straight at this stage. And let's hear from a man who was instrumental, as Enda mentioned, in setting up this last year, and indeed delighted to say is involved again and a key figure behind it. Please put your hands together for Adrian Flynn, somebody who needs no introduction from your GAA with Manor Hamilton with Leitrim in the past. So tell me, maybe for the benefit of our audience here and the people that will be watching this a little bit later on, your professional involvement in this.
Well, this is what I do for a living, is I help charities raise money with fitness challenges, basically. So look, the lads were struggling for money last year to do with the supporters down in Dublin. Last minute suggestion from me in late December, and it just kind of worked and took off from the very start. Like, so it was just, we'll do something simple everyone can get involved in, walk or run 50 miles. And didn't really have the proper setup technically, didn't really have the proper promotional plan, and it just took off. Like, so.
The beauty of it was that everybody can get involved and can get involved again this year, regardless of fitness. You can walk, you can run, you can even crawl if you need to.
Yeah, we went for you can solo as well last year, but no one did that. But you had people who were 16, there was a lady in Mohall who must have been in her 80s who did the challenge. It was unbelievable, really, and the kind of sense of togetherness and just general chats about football, and people going for places and walks in Leitrim that no one had ever seen before, and people finding out more about Leitrim through the challenge. It was unbelievable.
Talk to me a little bit about that sense of togetherness, because you got all the supporters really doing it in harmony with the players as well. You had the players involved, you had the supporters involved, you had officials involved. It really was the coming together of everybody in a unique project.
Yeah, and like you have that when everyone's doing the same fitness activity at the same time, you have that anyway. But the Leitrim angle just added 2 extra layers, like people going for walks, taking pictures, and then the football discussions as well. it was a real community at a time when people needed a bit of interaction. I suppose, a unique time. But even say this year, you still have that. Like, people will still enjoy the bit of crack and the bit of support and sharing their own pictures. And for me, like, when you raise 100 grand for Leitrim football, there's something else different there as well. Like, because you're actually making a difference to the team's performance on the field. And that's the thing I took from last year, is I say, as a Leitrim supporter, you can do something in your spare time without a huge amount of hassle that can really help the team. More so than going to a pitch and going to a match and shouting the team on, you can actually do something that makes a difference.
Yeah, the supporters very much played their part. You set the bar really high with the success of last year's event. What are you looking now to achieve and hoping to achieve in early 2022?
Target is 50 grand for this year. Last year we had one fundraising page and we did raise 100 grand, but we wanted people to have their own individual fundraising pages and really raise money from outside the county. What happened last year was a lot of the income was people donating €50 at the end of the challenge. This year we're giving people the hats. We're saying, take a hat, set up your own fundraiser on I Donate and share it with your work colleagues. You know, stick your neck out on WhatsApp and say, I'm doing this, I think this is important, support it. And the hope is we'll get more money from outside the county, more money from people who maybe aren't football people, and get that 50 grand raised.
Yeah, and for the benefit again for people at home, you can probably see the pack that's been given out here to some of the walkers today. And there's no doubt about it, the hat is going to look very stylish.
Hopefully.
It's going to look very fetching, and you're going to be seen out and about. You're going to be safe seen with this as well.
Open, and for the Leitrim tourism guys, we're delighted to get involved this year. You know, we want to see that hat out and about, showcasing Leitrim and the amazing walks there are in Leitrim as well. So we're hoping for a lot of selfies in that Facebook group and on social media generally in January.
Alright, now again, through social media, and I know people will be looking back at this video, once again, for anybody finally that wants to get involved, obviously the details are going to be there on the Leitrim GA website. What do they do just to log up? Give them a recap.
Get onto Leitrim GA's website. There's a link there where you can register for your hat, you can join the Facebook group, and then set up your fundraiser on I Donate. It takes 30 seconds. If you share it 4 or 5 times, you could raise €150 to €200 for Leitrim GA. That'll pay for a bus to an under 17 team to get to training. It'll make a difference to the actual training on the field. And as I said, you'll enjoy the experience. You get a hat and it's not that much hassle, so why not get stuck in?
Fantastic stuff. Adrian, thank you so much. Best of luck on the
Thanks
project.
so much.
Well done. Adrian Flynn, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we've already heard from some representatives of Leitrim County Council, but I want to welcome our next guest now, and that's Declan Boyle, who'll be well known through the Leitrim Sports Partnership and has worked there over a long number of years. And in the given the perfect introduction, let it be Celtic, Donegal, Sligo Rovers, Fid Harps. He needs no, I can't really top that. Declan, you're very welcome along. Let's talk about it from a sports partnership perspective here. One of the big benefits was it got so many people active and moving last year and improved fitness levels, and it set habits in place that many have kept going right up until the present time.
Yeah, listen, it's a great example of collaboration, but also community activation, and we all set targets and goals in January after Christmas of eating and drinking probably, and so the target is obviously 50-mile challenge, and that's a great target for anybody to start, and it's about activation, but we want all ages to get involved. Young kids, we want obviously families, adults, older adults to get out walking and participating in physical activity, improve their health and well-being.
It's one of the things I know the Leitrim Sports Partnership are so anxious in, is to get people involved of all ages, of all fitness levels, to get active, to get doing something that they enjoy. And there was a great social side to this as well last year, Declan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the great thing about the GA. The GA brings that community side together, and there's real activation and competition sometimes as well in regards to competing against each other and how many miles they can do. And there's no doubt about it, people will crash the 50-mile challenge, no problem at all to them. And it is about getting out together individually if we need, but we go out and enjoy the lovely spots and walks around Leitrim, and that's what it's all about, is with activation.
I know you come from what people call God's County in Donegal, but right here in Leitrim as well, you'll be familiar with so many of the walks. The facilities are here in place in Leitrim, where you've got this natural beauty. All the natural facilities are here. The resources to do these walks. Nobody has any excuse really.
No, absolutely, and that's the key, isn't it? It's only a matter of going out and look at this beautiful walk here beside us, and I think this year alone there's 150,000 people who've been on that walk, so that just shows you how active that is, and it's great to have that community entitlement where everyone wants to get involved and do local walks, but we also want them maybe to go out of their area and get involved in walks in North Leitrim or in South Leitrim, depending on where you're from. So not just look at walks in your own area, look, travel around and see what else the county has to offer.
And finally, this particular project, it forges great relationships that's been there with the local authority and Leitrim GA and the Leitrim Sports Partnership over a long number of years. Many times we sat at meetings at this time of the year ahead of the Sports Star Awards, back in the good old days before the pandemic, and with long meetings within the Stenson about picking out award winners and so on and so forth. So there's a brilliant relationship there, and this is very much forging that and bringing it now to the next level.
It is. It's about everybody coming together, working together, and collaboration. And this is a great example, as you said. It's the GA using the vehicle of the GA to obviously promote Leitrim as a lovely place to come, visit, and to work in. And it's about activation as well. And from our side, and we're delighted to be involved in this initiative. And if more people get out walking, my job is as coordinator of the Leitrim Sports Partnership. So we want everybody to get involved. And there's no excuses.
Okay, well look at Declan, you're doing fantastic work. Great to see you here today, and we look forward to chatting with you throughout the year. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Declan Boyle there. Perfect. Okay, we're going to hear from some of the football managers that's here. We'll be hearing from Andy a little bit later, and indeed we want to talk to some representatives from the Heart family. But before we do that, can we welcome the manager of the Leitrim Under-20 football team, Benny Guckin, just to say a few words here as well. Benny, great to see you here today. Under-20s, the footballers, even the younger footballers as well, they're buying into this particular project.
Absolutely, and I think it's been said so many times, it's a great project for everybody within Leitrim, young and old. And I think last year was an example of that. You had from 5-year-olds up to 80-year-olds, so it's an involvement for everybody.
It's definitely a huge coming together, as we said, of all the supporters, of all the players, and really there's so many positive aspects to this, that the players know when they see the supporters walking out there doing the 50-mile challenge, that it's for them as well, and they really can draw off that energy.
Yeah, well, I think Enda sort of mentioned it earlier on about the community spirit, and I suppose football is a massive thing within Leitrim, and we're very proud people. At times we may not perform as well as we could, but it's an opportunity for everybody to get behind the footballers, get behind the community spirit within the county.
Okay, fantastic stuff, Benny. Great to meet you here again today, and well done, and the best of luck in the year ahead.
So I just want to thank Brendan Doyle for the work that he does in the IT section to get all our views right out on it and across the social media. So Brendan, thank you very much for your work in that field. So I call up Jillian Heart.
Jillian Heart. Thank you very much indeed, and indeed, I suppose getting that message out there, as Linda mentioned, is so important, and to Brendan and Brian Blake, and I know Barbara and James here from the IT committee as well that are here today. They're all doing a fantastic job in promoting the message, so well done indeed to everybody involved there in that. As Linda mentioned, we want to hear next from Jillian Heart, so we'll ask you to put your hands together and just to welcome Jillian here to our podium. Jillian, you're very welcome. Hopefully the rain and everything stays away for a couple of moments' time. We'll just bring you in a little bit closer here. Tell me, we've heard from Inda as well, the whole story about, I suppose, how Francis in many ways caught the spirit of this last year, facing huge challenges, but at the same time wanted to do this for Leitrim. So give us the background, give the family background here first of all.
Actually, it was funny because this day last year he had a seizure in his sleep, and we were called to the hospital and we were told he's an hour, maybe 2. And the next morning he was up eating biscuits and drinking coffee, and so much so the hospice nurses nicknamed him Lazarus. So when he got involved in this, he got really involved in it, and if he had been anyway mobile, he would have done it, but he couldn't. But he was really involved in it on Facebook, and he loved the support and the posts. He used to show me the funny posts, and if somebody was doing extra miles for somebody else, he loved all that. And he was really you would have loved him to be here to do it, because although he lived in Dublin, he was Leitrim first. He was Leitrim in his blood, so. He would have been represented if he had been anyway mobile. So it's great that he's still included. It means a lot to myself, to my mum, to his sisters, that he's included this year, and it really does mean a lot to us. Thanks very much. Thanks a million.
His spirit, in many ways, it captured what all this was about last year, and I think that's an inspiration to so many people last year, and again to this year to do the walk. If you look at that spirit, it drives everybody to get out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it does, absolutely, and it goes to show you if you can't do it, do it, because life is short, so just take it and do it and enjoy the community spirit and take it all in.
You have other family members here today as well, and just tell us who's here representing the family.
And my mum is here, and Francis' sister is here. His nephew is down the back hiding down there. my aunt is here with my little boy. She's brought him for a walk to see the ducks. He's down there. He's only one, so that's come down and be involved and hopefully not get plugged. Okay, thanks.
Well, brilliant. So, look, you're very welcome to Leitrim. Thanks a million for coming down and well done. You put your hands together for them there. They've been fantastic. In Bacon, Andy Moran is here. Put your hands together for the Leitrim Senior Football Team Manager. Andy, you're very welcome. Just before you launch it, a quick couple of words. The 4th of January is probably one of the big dates that's in everybody's mind now. The opening game of the Connacht FBD League and a meeting against Sligo. How are preparations going?
Yeah, very well. Great buy-in from the lads. We're getting them into strength and conditioning programs, getting them moving, fixing up old injuries from last year, and just getting them ready to go back training. And but preparation's going really well. The buy-in from even the Ballinamore lads that got knocked out 2 weeks ago has been amazing. The Mohill lads that got better in the county final, and all the under-20s that have been playing the last couple of weeks. It's been amazing. Myself, Michael, Barry and James have been blown away with the response we've got.
Talk to me a little bit about the spirit that you've found in Leitrim so far. I know we're talking about the spirit of this walk and this challenge for supporters and players alike, but the enthusiasm that's there and the commitment to the cause.
I know, it's brilliant. What I didn't realise when I came back down first, and I know we've a hurling community, but the main sport here in Leitrim is Gaelic football. And it was something that was said to me, and it because I come from Mayo, obviously the main sport in Mayo is not soccer, not hurling, it's Gaelic football. And there's very few counties like that. And like when we were at the county final, you see Heslin's against Mohill in the final, and the passion and the enthusiasm that was around the place that day. Both myself and Mike Solan from Balladreen, we were looking around. My wife Jennifer was with us. We're like, whoa, there's an energy here. Do you know, there's a real want to get better here. So I'm in the same boat. I'm a young manager coming in. I want to get better. Leitrim want to get better. So hopefully we can forge that journey together and just kind of move it forward.
We spoke about the spirit of the players so far, the commitment, and you talked about the county final and the occasion. I know you've looked at other games in the championship as well. The standard of play, the standard of player in the county so far. Your views on that? I won't say hasn't surprised you, because you played against Leitrim and you played in some tough games against Leitrim over the years for Mayo. But the standard of player, how do you rate that at the minute?
If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm a bit shocked by how good the player is. Of course, we have the county final, which was a great advertisement for Leitrim football. But then you have the likes of David Casey, or Donal Casey, David Brown, these guys, young guys, Reardon O'Rourke, Ryan O'Rourke, guys that weren't seen that day, that are just fabulous footballers. Pierce Dolan, real guys that can really push their career on and kind of show the country what they can do. And like, my job as a coach is to make them guys believe that they can do that, and then make them better along the way as well. But I think the standard of course we won't know. Of course we won't know until we start playing FBD and league and championship. But from what I can see from the outside looking in, and the glimpses I've seen of these guys, there's huge talent. There's huge talent there to progress.
I think everybody can get your enthusiasm, and it's spreading far and wide. I presume at this stage now you can't wait for the 4th of January, get that first match and then take it on from there.
Yeah, just can't wait to clear up the injuries from last year, the ones that are historical, that have been there quite a while, get all them guys back on the field, because I think the energy then, of course, like every camp, there's going to be COVID issues along the way, there's going to be players coming and going, so we're going to rely on 26, 30 players the whole way along the season. We've Cavan in the first round of the league, which is a huge one in Cork Sean, and we're going to ask all the Leitrim supporters to come out and support us that night and show the lads that there is energy here. We hope to show that from the pitch out into the stands. We need to get that back from the stands onto the pitch, and we're hoping for a big crowd that night and kind of pushing on from there. And
of course the unique championship will be starting earlier this year as well. I know there's the game against London on Easter Sunday. That's going to be our sole focus, but part of the back of your mind, surely that's maybe a thought, perhaps it would be an opportunity of maybe looking at Mayo or Galway down the line.
Yeah, Mayo have a big test themselves. Would like, even the London game now, is that on my focus? Of course it kind of narrows it when the draw is done. We kind of half thought that that's the way it was going to be, but honestly I think it's so important that we start well. But not with wins or losses or anything like that. I'm saying start well in terms of performance and energy, and show the supporters, okay, they're going somewhere here. You don't have to be there straight away. You're going somewhere. You're building towards it. And if we can do that, I think people will get behind it. Like, look at the walk here. Adrian was saying at the start, Joe, we didn't know how it started. It wasn't set up properly. Joe, nothing is going to be perfect. But all of a sudden it takes off. Once you get an energy behind something, once you get going, and you have the likes of Francis kind of building that enthusiasm around the place, then everyone gets in behind it. And on the walk, then again, it's so important. Brendan was saying it there, just to echo Brendan's thoughts. It's so important for the likes of the players this year to take the position of a Francis, and really drive this thing on and show that the Leitrim people that we don't want you to do everything for us. We're willing to get involved as well. So we hope as a team to drive that on as well.
I've seen last year the players as well, and they bought into these challenges. They bought into the win, the wed and draw as well, that was being run as a fundraiser. There's a real appetite there among the players, you know, to give something back and to work with the supporters. That togetherness is vital going forward for the year, and it starts in January. It starts with this particular 50-mile challenge.
Yeah, it starts every time they go out. Once you're in the Leitrim panel, every time you're out in the public, you're representing Leitrim. You know, you're not detached away from the group. Once you leave the centre of excellence, you're representing Leitrim. That's something that we're going to try to install in them. So they're really enthusiastic about the walk and really enthusiastic about the year ahead. And I understand me as a manager, as a coach, I have to coach the team and make them better, of course, but I also represent Leitrim. So every time I go out there, my job is to represent Leitrim and try to, if I can help out with this 50-mile challenge, I'll be there every day to try to do something.
You come very much from a fitness background as well.
Yeah.
You'll be encouraging everybody to get, it's an opportunity for everyone maybe to get going, get moving, get mobile in the month of January. So regardless of fitness levels or whatever, take it mile by mile.
You're the first man we're working on.
That's right.
Yeah,
I can do it.
No, but I did when I was talking to the lads, they were saying you have a strength and conditioning background, and my strength and conditioning background isn't with teams. My strength and conditioning background is with the general public. It's with anyone that wants to come in and get fit can come into our gyms and kind of get fit. So I love this challenge, because if you want to run the 50 miles, you run the 50 miles. If you want to walk it, if you want to crawl it, if you want to do whatever you want with it, you can do it. So yeah, just as long as people are moving and they're trying to get a bit healthier, we'll try to help them along the way.
Fantastic, and I've got a personal trainer for the year ahead as well. I can't wait for that. Look at, let's do it when the sun is shining and before the clouds gather. Andy, we'll hand it over to you to launch the 50-mile challenge for 2022.
Yeah, super. Delighted to be involved, guys. Delighted to be representing Leitrim in any way I want, and to launch the challenge. I'd love to present the first hat to Anne, please, if you'd like to come up, just to and just to thank you on behalf of the team. And I'm a blow-in, I know, but just on behalf of the team to thank you and Francis for everything you did for us last year. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Lovely, Andy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to everybody for coming. Good luck to everybody that's going to the walk. I will see you all soon again.